Welcome to From the Crow's Nest, live from AOC Europe 2024. I'm your host, Ken Miller, Director of Advocacy and Outreach for the Association of Old Crows. It's great to be here with you. We are here in beautiful Oslo, Norway for this year's AOC Europe, and our purpose here is to bring you an inside look into a great 3-day conference. We're already on day 2. Where the bulk of the briefings kick off. And I am pleased to be here with the conference chairman, branch chief EW, Norwegian Armed Forces, Eric Bamford, who is also AOC, board of director for international region here representing Europe. Eric, it's great to have you on From the Crow's Nest here to share with us a little bit about AOC Europe. So thanks for joining me.
Yep, thank you.
So the theme for this week is alliances and collaborations in supporting multi-domain electromagnetic warfare operations. Big title. I wanted to hone in on the use of the term partnerships and collaborations, because in everyday life we often use these as synonyms, but they mean completely different things when we're talking about global electromagnetic operations. So could you talk a little bit about the theme and what the message is that you want to send to all of our guests here this week?
Yeah, so just to dive into the difference between partnership and collaboration, where partnership might actually mean that you are totally connected in building this capability or a concept, whereas collaboration might be that you are working in parallel towards a common goal. And I'm just picking that up from From the Crow's Nest podcast you had in October last year on FMS, which was really great. Some of these companies are big, some companies are small, some companies are unique in their products and will be a sub-provider for a larger company. So you will see among the exhibitors, you will find both those that are partnering, but also those that are collaborating towards common goals that we can then put into operations.
Yep.
So that's kind of how we differentiate those two, I think, and I think that's a correct way of approaching it.
And this show brings together such a variation and a diversity of technologies. Every company here that's represented is looking for kind of that next component that they need to make their system up to standard for today's threat. So we have two sessions here today. Session today, session tomorrow. Yesterday was a special workshop, but talk a little bit about the theme on each of the days and what specifically you're diving into to cover this theme of partnerships and collaborations.
Yeah, so being in Norway and the Arctic or Nordic region, that of course is going to be a focus area. It's one of the concepts of doing AOC as a traveling circus in Europe.
And this is the first time in Norway.
It's the first time in Norway, but we've been twice to Sweden within the last 10 years, I think. The region is special. The geopolitical change in this region over the last 2 years only, from Russia's full assault on Ukraine, from a change of Sweden and Finland moving from neutrality or alliance neutrality into NATO, onboarding those two nations, which is going to touch on both partnership and collaboration, and the change that, and you'll see that in the presentations or the panel later on today, that you have a renewed border directly from NATO onto Russia that has increased by more than 50%. And we're looking at a vastly populated area, even though for the Arctic it's still a primary populated area, because if you move in further into Russia or Canada, northern Canada or Alaska, it is not as populated as the Nordic region, right, even though we are very spread out and thinly spread in the north.
Well, and it's a region that's getting a lot more attention as an area of special. It's rising in the minds of a lot of military planners today, because as I had From the Crow's Nest last year, I had a person on who talked about how the Arctic is, when we think about today's threats, from the U.S. perspective at least, even, we think of Russia and Europe, we think of China and Asia, but when you look at the Arctic, they're all present. And so this is an area, this is a region where all threats are looking to improve their presence and operations. And so it's obviously of significant concern to the Scandinavian countries here in Norway specifically.
Oh yeah, so there's kind of two really big things to pick on there. One thing is the ice, breaking up and allowing for the northern passage. The other one is it is the shortest route for missile and counter-missile attacks across the North Pole from the US and into Russia and vice versa. So those are kind of the two big things that touch this region at all. Yeah.
Now, for those who come to AOC Europe on a regular basis, they'll know that this event continues to grow. And I wanted to, at this time, bring in AOC Global Operations Director Bob Andrews, because you are really responsible for. Yeah, we have it wide enough. So. Your job here is to basically grow AOC's presence abroad, globally. And you've done a lot of work over the recent years to build this event up, as well as our presence around Europe and Asia. So could you talk a little bit? I think we found that there's about 110 exhibitors here this week, 1,500 members, with both significant growth over last year, and it's been growing. We expect that to continue. Can you talk a little bit about what that reflects in terms of AOC's presence globally and our mission, electromagnetic warfare, globally?
Okay, well, globally we are expanding, but of course wars in Europe really do increase the interest in electronic warfare. And we can see that by the number of exhibitors that are turning up. More and more people are turning up. EW is everywhere in this war, and that's very helpful to the AOC, because we're the group that advocates electronic, EW, and supports it, and everyone is beginning to know us in the world. It's fantastic.
And quite frankly, we've been the group that's been talking about that this is a war that's going to be about EW when it does happen. Now it's been going on for several years, and sure enough, pretty much everything we've said, you've said, and Eric's has said over the last number of years has basically come true. So I think the companies understand that, they're seeing that, and the growth is great. Looking forward, what do you hope to capture from this event here this week to build upon in terms of keeping that growth growing and keeping that message continuing to go further out into our European partners?
Okay, well, obviously the conference is a big drawer of people here. We've got a lot of new people attending. I understand it's about 60 countries have turned up, and we had 47 last year. So we're reaching out to people. We're seeing new exhibitors, and I personally go and see all the new exhibitors. We've got 25 new exhibitors this year. Most of them are very small companies, but this is what it's all about. They come in, they see what it's like, and then they re-sign every year, because they actually get a great benefit of it when you've got so many people here that are all EW specialists. This is really the only EW event in Europe, totally EW, and it does draw the community, and the community is getting bigger.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Well, that is all the time that we have for today's opening segment here to introduce everybody here to AOC Europe 2024. I want to thank you for taking a few minutes out of your busy schedules. I know you have some of the keynote speakers to start to escort here, and we're going to get started here very shortly. I want to thank Epic Solutions for sponsoring this segment here this morning. And we are, at this time, going to go over to their booth and talk to them about what they're showcasing here at AOC 2024. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, welcome back. I am here at the booth of Epic Solutions, the sponsor of this morning's segment here at AOC Europe 2024. Epic Solutions has long been a partner with us at many of our shows. It's great to see you here at AOC Europe. Epic Solutions is a leader in software-defined radios and integrated systems, and I am here today with Wyatt Taylor, Director of Software-Defined Radios. Now, if you are a listener to our From the Crow's Nest podcast, you'll know that we just recently had a discussion about software-defined radios, where it's going. And so it's very timely to be here with Epic Solutions to talk about what they're showcasing here. And I wanted to give you an inside look. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Wyatt. And tell us a little bit about what you have here on display for the attendees here at AOC.
Yeah, so we're really excited to be here. Epic's been doing low swap, small form factor software-defined radios for about 10 years now. We really started on the very small form factors here. Now we've been pushing to higher frequencies, greater signal processing, but really with the focus on enabling more capability for less swap. We're seeing a constant pull for greater capability in drone payloads and dismounted systems, longer battery life, accessing X-band and up to 18 gig, even looking at 40 gigahertz, and so really kind of extending the portfolio to serve multiple missions.
Now, if you walk around the exhibit floor, I mean, the idea of swap, the focus on swap is dominating a lot of our vendors here today. Everyone's trying to get more capability onto a smaller system, save weight, look at the variable power, how to increase the power,
Yep.
and this is kind of your.
That's our sweet spot.
That's your
Yeah,
sweet
that's
spot,
what we do.
and particularly with Ukraine.
That's right.
There's so much advanced technology coming to the field every single day that this is a topic that is going to drive electronic warfare here for years in the future.
Absolutely.
So talk a little bit about how this fits into today's conversation.
So we do everything from some of the industry's smallest SDRs, size of a postage stamp or two. These consume 1 or 2 watts. It can be an FPGA or Zinc processor with a radio RF front end. You plug it in, you give it 3.3 volts and a USB connection, and you've got a little radio you can put on almost anything.
Which is fantastic for, as you're talking drones and
drones, yep.
any system that's getting smaller, or even land systems. So you're
That's
multi-domain. Your products are multi-domain. They can reach anywhere. anytime.
Anywhere. And then some of these are a little more integrated. So this has a GPU, CPU, so you can do machine learning. We work with partners like DeepSig that do direction finding and signal interrogation. Gives you multiple channels that you can either stare or look at different sweeping configurations. This one covers up to 6 gigahertz. This one is the same idea, but up to 18 gigahertz if you've got threats you need to have eyes on in the X-band and KU band. So very similar, some of them a little more integrated, some of them a little more embedded. It depends on the end platform and what you're going into, what kind of interfacing you'd like to be on, as well as following some of the open architecture standards like 3UVPX and mod payload, where there is a standard that we need to comply to. We've been members of SOSA for many, many years and have a range of VPX products for that space.
Now, I just got out of a conversation here with Eric Bamford, who's the chair of the AOC Europe 2024. And we talked a little bit about the theme, the idea of partnerships and collaborations.
That's right.
And that's driving a lot of the conversation here. Talk a little bit about how Epic Solutions is working in that area of building partnerships and collaborations with other customers and other countries around the world.
Yeah, we really view ourselves as kind of real leaders in the open architecture space. We really focus on the hardware, and we really work with our partners and our customers on the application space. And so what you get when you have an Epic product is all the hardware and an API and a board support package that eases the integration of the customer's application. And we work with partners like DeepSig and 3DB Labs. We're building up some partnerships in Europe as well with companies like LVD. And they really bring the application and the signal processing and bring the in solution. And so that's really a nice place where we try to be best of breed on the hardware side and try to find partners and customers that are best of breed on the application and software side.
Great. So now if any of our listeners would like to learn a little bit more about Epic Solutions, the products that you offer, working with you, how can they reach you?
Yeah, so epicsolutions.com is our website. We've got sales team across the US. We have an Epic UK entity now, so we're building out a direct customer base and business development in the UK and Europe as well. But epicsolutions.com is the first place to go.
Great. Well, thank you, Wyatt. It's been great talking to you. I hope you enjoy the show. And at this time, that's it for this segment. We will be back this afternoon with another segment, speaking to more guest keynote speakers this afternoon, as well as vendors. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks.